So welcome back to now part 5 of this series of videos called Get More Out of Your PC. We're going back to basics. We're sticking with spreadsheets for now in this series and working with Excel here. Now on this video we're going to get slightly more advanced. We're going to be covering data validation and conditional formatting. If you're new to Excel, if you're new to spreadsheets, just the terms conditional formatting and data validation might be enough to make you switch off right now, but watch how easy this is. As the example, we're going to make a checklist, a simple yes or no checklist. So let's lay out our table first of all, and what we'll do here, just purely for example purposes, we're going to use like a travel checklist. So we've laid out the cells that I want for my table. I'm going to merge across. The first or the top line can be our header, and in here we're going to call it travel checklist. Done. And in here we're going to have our list of things to check off, and we're going to look to get a yes or no. Just fill that in. We're going to get a yes or no option here, so a drop down menu, not menu but a drop down list, data validation list, which is going to be a checklist for yes or no. Let's not confuse things. Let's get this set up very quickly. We'll just put some borders in there so we can see what we're doing, or you can see easier on your screens. Okay, travel checklist. We'll start with some obvious things, tickets to go in here. Let's say this is hand luggage at the top here, so we'll color code this to be one section, and this section here can be suitcase luggage. So we'll make that slightly darker, and we'll just make this look a bit nicer while we're in here. Okay, so what did I say we were doing? Hand luggage. Okay, let's just put some typical things you might put into your hand luggage, into your suitcase. I don't know, let's go for shoes, belt, whatever, blah 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 blah. Okay, there we are. So we've got a few entries in here, and what we want is a yes or no option in this checklist area here. What we're going to do for the first time in this series, we have covered the basics already in the first 4 videos, which you can go back and view on our YouTube channel under the playlist Get More Out of Your PC. What we're going to do here is we're going to use multiple sheets for the first time in this series. Down at the bottom it will say sheet 1. We can rename that if we want. We can call that let's call it, we don't have to do this, it's just an example. We'll call that sheet checklist, and we're going to go to sheet 2. So we click on the tab down the bottom. There is a tab, you can have multiple sheets along here. There's a little tab there which will insert further checklists, or not, sorry, beg your pardon, further sheets. We're just going to use sheet 2, and in here we're just going to put simply, let's just go for, keep it simple, yes and no. So we've got sheet 1, which is our checklist, sheet 2, yes or no. So that's it. We're just using this as a kind of scribbling pad, if you like, and it's going to feed the data in from here. So we want the yes or no to appear here in a drop down list type thing. So we'll go to sheet 2. First thing we've got to do is select both of these cells like that. Once both cells are selected, I can right click on them, and I'm going to give the range, because I've selected both of them. We're going to name that range. I'm simply going to call it, it's got to be one word, it can't be, you can't have any spaces in here. We'll just simply call it yes or no, and hit OK. So that's gone in. I go back to the main sheet here, so we're working on the sheet that we want to. I'm going to select the cell that I want to work with. Forget about the rest of them just now. We can autofill those once the formula is done for the top cell. So I've selected the top cell that I want my yes or no list to go into. On the top tab, depending on what version of Excel you're working with, This might look slightly different, but it'll be there. You will see data. On the data tab, we go for data validation. And once we click this, the box that pops up looks something like this. What we want to do is select, we want a list in this case, so we go for list. These things are selected by default. And in the source, here we go. We click into the source here and we click, this is important, equals. That's got to go in there. So equals to start the formula. Once we've hit equals, on your keyboard, up at the top of the keyboard, hit F3. And when we do, it's going to give us a list of all the various different ranges, and in this case there's only one there, and it's yes or no. If you're working with multiple options here, there will be a list there, so I want my yes or no to go in here. I hit OK and OK. Now what's happened here is we have a drop down menu. When we click yes, it's going to go in as yes, and no is going to go in as no. And of course we can in a moment we'll carry that down. In fact, I'll show you now. If we hover the cursor over the bottom corner here, when we get the solid black cross, we drag down, we click and drag down, and it's going to fill all of these things in. So let's just randomize them here. And we've got some yeses, we've got some nos. But of course that doesn't stand out very well. What I want to do is color code. So that's data validation. That's it. That's it in its simplest form. You can have within that list, that drop down list, you can have a dozen different options. So it can be used for multiple different things, and it's quite a handy thing to do when filling sheets in. So what I want to do here is color code these things so that when it says yes or no, let's just get rid of these entries first of all. Let's just do this. Okay. So what we're going to do now is color code the thing. So when it goes yes, I want it to display as green, and let's go for the obvious, red for no. So selecting the top cell, that's the one we're working on. We can autofill the rest once the thing is working. Selecting the top cell, what we're going to do is click on the Home tab up the top, and we'll see conditional formatting. Now under this highlight cells rule, we have all sorts of different options. If you're working with numbers, it can be greater than or lower than. In this case, it's we'll keep things simple, equal to. So what we're telling the cell to do is conditional formatting is to format it depending on what the input is going to be. So for yes, it's going to give us some options here, preset options such as light red or green fill with green text. I want to go for custom format here, and all we're interested in is the background color, so I'm going to change that to green, and OK that, and OK again. Now, staying with the same cell, I want to do the same if it goes to no. I want no to be red. So same procedure, highlight cells rule, equal to, and if it's equal to no, then again, custom format fill, and we'll go with, it's going to be black text we're working with, so we'll go for a slightly lighter red, more pink. We can go for red, let's just do that. So red. So when it goes to no, it's going to go to red. Now, what we want to do firstly is, well, we can test that just now, but I know it's going to work. I'm going to autofill the rest of these cells with that formula. So again, hovering over the bottom corner, when we change to a black cross, click and drag down right to the bottom here, and now we've got all these options. So I can go in and say, yep, done, and you can see as I'm going for yes or no, it's putting the correct color in, and that will apply to the entire sheet. So these can be used for all sorts of things. These can be used for all sorts of business form input forms and things like that. So there's multiple options and purposes for using these two procedures. That's data validation and conditional formatting. So the names of these things sound quite confusing, but the hope is we're just giving you an example of what these additional features do within Excel. And of course, the further into Excel we go, the more powerful we realise that this piece of software actually is. So there we are. That's part 5 on this video. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the red button on the YouTube channel, if that's where you are just now. If you're watching this on the Computron website, then head over to YouTube, search for Computron, and you'll find our channel on there. There's a playlist called Get More Out of Your PC, and we're putting together this series of videos to get back to basics and get your computer working for you again. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.